What's going on, y'all? I'm here to talk about the GOAT, Gouging Fire. I love this guy. I love all three of these. Um, so before I get into all these really cool buffs and changes, I want to have a disclaimer for anybody who's new here. If you're looking at this, you're already you're a competitively minded player. You're clicking on this because you saw the title and you're expecting a competitive analysis. I'm sorry, that's not what this is. And I also assume that if you are this type of person, you're probably looking at the min-maxing going on with the 20 special attack drop, and you're thinking, why in the hell why would he do that? This thing's already really strong. What does it need more stats for? This is a ROM hack where everything is reworked, everything is completely new and overall revamped, and you can check that all out in the description down below, and it'll give you a... Don't click off the video to click any of the links yet, but I have a bullet point list that you can pause or read as you listen, but ideally you pause and give that a read. So it'll explain a lot of the background for how I balance this ROM hack and why things are the way they are. So these guys are all going to be endgame, eggs, right? They're going to be a Pokemon that you don't get access to until the end of the game. And then, of course, they still do fit in fine with other Pokemon. Yeah, their stats are high, but I mean, other things have high stats and cool abilities and cool synergies and all that shit. So every single Pokemon is given this type of attention. And I sometimes indulge a bit, favoritism. It's my ROM hack. I fucking love Gouging Fire. I love all three of these guys. So I gave him all really cool shit, but that goes for every Pokemon. I give every Pokemon cool shit. That's the whole point of the game. So you're supposed to be able to use any Pokemon you want. Again, read the description. It'll give you background info. I'm not going to talk about it too much. But when you're done with the video, you can check out the other ones. And then I also recommend you join my Discord if you want to learn more about the hack and get updates on the hack. And then also go to the move change guide on the Google Sheet when you're done and give this all a little read if you're interested in the ROM hack, because it'll give you a lot of more important context for how the Pokemon function because of the moves. Of course, I will cover some in this video, but not every single one. So yeah, Gouging Fire, I gave them all 121, 121, so they all follow stat patterns, right? 121 HP, 121 HP, 141 HP. That's because I try to base HP more on the size of the Pokemon. Not entirely, but a good amount. And I think these guys are so fucking massive that they fit having like these giant HP stats, right? And this makes Gouging Fire incredibly tanky. I did drop his speed a little bit. Of course, it's not a huge difference, but with Scarf it will make some differences, so which is what you're running most of the time if you want to run speed. Of course, or Dragon and shit late game, but... And fuck setting up, I don't care about that. Anyway, yeah, so you're hitting 375, which is definitely very good already. That's outspeeding 120, but you're not outspeeding anything above 121. So, versus 91 but outspeed pretty much the whole game. So that is definitely a small downside, but it's a reasonable one given how I want to encourage more defensive sets a lot of the time. And this game, as you've read already, hopefully in the description, or if you're a returning viewer. By the way, I appreciate my returning viewers. I love you guys, man. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, drop a like, all that good shit if you haven't already. But as for Gouging Fire and the speed stat, what was I talking about with the speed stat, man? Oh, the versatility of the Pokemon, yeah. So you can use him with Scarf, Headstrong, basic, offensive shit, or you can use him purely defensively, or you can do a blend of the two, because defensively he's got great tools. He's got Spiky Shield, and the game he's got Burning Bulwark at the end game, which is obviously an incredible move versus AI, because you can reliably bait a contact move of any kind and get a free burn multiple times, not even just once. So it's not like, Walking Wake's Steam Shot, where it's one free burn. This is free burns on anything that's making contact with you throughout the entire fight. So it's pretty damn crazy. And then, of course, his physical bulk is already insane. And then Barbed is even better. So, this guy's got this big spiky crest. So taking damage when you hit him makes a lot of sense. And I think it's really cool. You can slap on Rocky Helmet for certain boss fights. You've got Spiky Shield. You've got Morning Sun. All this super fun defensive stuff. And then Headstrong is also a super sick ability flavor-wise for him, given that he has this big giant head crest. So having no recoil moves from, ramming into them, taking no recoil from recoil moves makes a lot of sense. So as you can see, all the recoil moves are bolded. So you've got Flare Blitz and Dragon Hammer towards the end of the game. Not super late, but I mean, they're endgame ones in general. You'll probably get them, I would guess, in like level 50, maybe. Either before or after the Kieran, the DLC Ogrepon shit. I would say maybe right before is my guess, but I don't know. We'll have to see when I get around to doing Pokemon egg placements and shit. But regardless of when you get them, it's super sick, right? So Head Smash is no recoil, so you're only dropping your defenses, and that's 140 power. If you got Terra Rock, that goes fucking crazy, but even without it, it's very good, obviously. Dragon Hammer, Flare Blitz, no drawbacks there. Of course, your Heat Crash is really strong in general. A lot of the time, it'll be 100 or 120 power, but it's not always going to be like that. So Flare Blitz is still good, and of course, you have your other recoil moves as well with Headstrong. Especially if it's like a really fat Pokemon, then you're only doing like 80 base power with Heat Crash or something. So Yeah, definitely a lot of cases where Flare Blitz outdamages it. Temper Flare is the same power as Flare Blitz. It's a crit move. However, you can't click that twice in a row. So Scarf Flare Blitz is infinitely better than Temper Flare in every way if you're running Headstrong. If you're running Bobbed or something, then there's a use case for Temper Flare and other stuff. Of course, not to mention you don't get Flare Blitz until level 60, so you'll be using Temper Flare or Blazing Assault or other physical fire moves until then. Blazing Assault is really sick. That's essentially physical fire type Draco Meteor. That's really fun. You can use that with a jetpack, barbed shenanigans, all types of fun ways you can build this guy, man. Spike stuff is really unique. That's really good for breaking sashes on the AI. That's pretty much the only real use of it. You just get the one layer up just to break a sash, because dealing with the sash later on can be more difficult depending on your team. Again, game was balanced around Teamlocked, so you're going to be making the most use of your Pokemon and the different capabilities they have, instead of keeping them in one little role the whole game. And in this case is no exception. In the sun, he's obviously very strong. I mean, Scarf Photosynthesis in the sun goes fucking crazy. Or just like Raw or like DD in the sun. I don't know, all types of shit in the sun. Booster is kind of niche on him, but not useless because he doesn't actually have a damage boosting ability. Not that he needs one because his attack set is so high, but you know, it's still appreciated for getting certain specific KO ranges, especially if it's like not a guaranteed kill. You can make it a guaranteed one with Booster. But of course, that only works on like slower, bulkier threats unless you want to take a hit first, which isn't a big deal. You totally can. I fucking love this guy, bro. I love the stats I picked from too. They're so cool. I love, again, the stat patterns I chose. The 141 special attack versus the 141 attack. The brute force and the huge power. God, I love these guys so much, and I'm really happy I could do them, give them all really cool shit. So, Gouging Fire also has other burn-themed moves. So outside of Burning Bulwark, which is at the end of the game, you also got Lava Plume, Burn Up, Will-O-Wisp, and Precipice Blades, all of which are guaranteed burns. Precipice Blades is also an endgame move. So I threw that on there for flavor. Precipice Blades is only on stuff like Typhlosion, Camerupt, other like volcanic-themed mons. And I wasn't going to give it to Gouging Fire at first, but then I saw that, number one, Entei will get it because he is volcano-themed. And number two, Gouging Fire gets Lava Plume level up anyway, so I was like, you know what? I'll throw on Precipice Blades then. So that is better than Headlong Rush objectively, because unlike other crit moves, as it says, you can actually click this twice in a row. I should probably bold that can so people don't put that in bold italics. Yeah, so that can be used twice in a row, unlike the other ones. So, because it's an exclusive one, so yeah, that's super fun with like Scarf. Obviously, Headlong Rush until then is very good too, and obviously Earthquake is good, old reliable Earthquake. Brutal Blade, Brutal Bash are both really strong coverage moves as well. You've also got your CC for later on, but Scarf is better than Brutal Bash in a lot of contexts. But if you're running a bulkier set, then Brutal Bash is infinitely superior because you're not dropping your stats. So that's all really good. Same with like EQ versus Headlong, right? Headlong is better on Scarf sets, but EQ is better if you're running like a bulkier set with that boss fight. So it really just depends on the situation. Also, if you pulled like Terra Normal, then Double Edge goes pretty crazy with Headstrong. Arcane Fangs is awesome on this guy because he's so fucking tanky. You can run like Arcane Fangs, Morning Sun, Rocky Helmet, Barbed, and just shit on. I mean, Burning Bulwark, burn moves. Burn Up is also really cool because Burn Up removes your fire typing and guaranteed burns the opponent now. So despite not having a very good special attack stat, you're still, number one, it still does good damage because it's a high base power move, and number two, you get that utility from removing your fire weaknesses and stuff for that turn. So for example, you can click like Scarf or Quick Claw Burn Up in front of like a Pokemon that's going to use a rock type or ground type move on you, and then you can survive the ground type move much easier after you burn them, and of course remove your typing. So that's a cool little tech you can slap on once in a while. Strength and Brutal Swing are also really cool with Headstrong for coverage, or again, if you get the Terra type, it's even cooler. Health Thrust is useless because Brutal Swing is there, but I mean, unless some niche case where you're running Barb, then have to kill something with Health Thrust and take less recoil from Brutal Swing, whatever. I mean, niche situations like that, but overall, it is just better. Wild Charge is also good there too for Headstrong, and then I also tossed on Play Rough because they are like a dog at the end of the day. Like they are still dog-like, so I think it makes enough sense, even though they don't really seem super cute or playful at all. But yeah, Mega Horn's obviously super good too. That's bug type CC. That'd be really cool for certain situations. Spiky Shield is, God, this guy is so cool. Spiky Shield, Barbed, Burn moves, Morning Sun, Arcane Fang, Stally shit is so fun. I love it. He can be used in a lot of different ways. So yeah, I think I've covered pretty much everything I really need to talk about. He's very straightforward. Again, I dropped those stats, as I said earlier, because I just like him having a higher attack. I think it makes a lot of sense for his design. And I felt like he was a little bit, quote-unquote, weak. I'm using that very loosely compared to the other two in terms of damage output. And I do like him being really offensive as well as very defensive. So I just like, I don't know, I just threw an extra 20 on there, let him cook, man. Endgame legendary type mon, so it's fine. Not to mention there are plenty of Pokemon who are much stronger than this because of boosting abilities and other stuff, so it's not like that's a concern. I just know some people are going to be like, oh, you min-maxes everything, but I don't. And even if I do that to everything, then it's not a problem anymore. So either way, your argument is kind of silly in my opinion. But I don't know why I'm arguing with an invisible person right now, man. That's how you know I've been vocal recording too damn long. I'm almost done though, so thank you for listening. If you made it to the end of this one, I really do appreciate it. There's a couple other like move interactions and cool things I could cover, but I trust that you all like Pyro Dash. You know, that's Fire type quick attack. Again, if you're 10 minutes in, you probably know that, but if you don't, now you know. Yeah, overall, I've covered pretty much everything I need to talk about. So thank you, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace.